Okay, so when you're asked you're not given a diagram, this is how you do it, folks. It's actually not that bad. Triangle fun, this is telling you that those are the corners, so draw one. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be drawn to scale. Just draw it like this. Don't draw it symmetrical, kind of make it a little bit off center, right? If I were to cut it here, they would not be exactly the same, okay? So then you just start any corner you would like. Where do you want me to start? Top? You want me to start here? If you start here, this is how it would be. Fun. Clockwise, counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. You're all going to get the same answer. Okay? I know some teachers said, go ahead, it has to be clockwise. It doesn't. So if you have the capitals there, where do we put the lowercase letters? Lowercase across from capital, lowercase, and lowercase. So now you have the sides labeled and the angles labeled. And let's fill in what we know. What do they give us? Let me just grab my red pen. Everybody's paying attention, right? 42. This is 42 degrees right here. N is 36. I put that down. 37.42 for U. This is side U, and it's in inches, right? So many things that give it away that it's supposed to go here. Okay. I'm not going to tell you. Think about it. What would you have to use to solve this triangle? Don't yell it out just for yourselves right now. Think about it. If I give you this right now, knowing sine law and cosine law are your only two options, how would you know what to start with? So just think about it for a bit. What would you start with? Sine law or cosine law? Tell me how you know. Just think about it. We'll wait half a minute. I think that's about half a minute. Anmol, what were you going to say?
180 minus 36 42 and then
Okay. So this is what I want you to do, what Anmol was saying. The first thing he was doing is finding that third angle, correct? Do that right away. Angle U is 180, because all of them add up to 180, minus 36, minus 42. Okay? You subtract those two and find your third angle right away. What is it? 102, yeah. Okay. Boom. So that is now an additional piece of information that I can add to my, right? This is now provided. And now you should see a pair, right? Okay, you have the angle and the side across from it. So that is a pair. Okay. What's the symbol for therefore? Do you remember? Did I talk about that? Three dots like that. Therefore, sine law. You're learning a lot of things, right? Sine law. If you speak the language well, you can communicate well, right? So in math, if you know your symbols, you do better job. So this is telling me that is going to be a mark, guys. You're listening? 1 mark for just telling me sine law or cosine law. That's how the province marks. That's how we mark. So then I use that, right? So here, sine of 102 degrees over 37.42 inches. What are we doing again? We're solving the triangle. So I'm just going to start solving. On the other side, what should I use here? I'm going to use sine of 42, right? Sine of 42 degrees. It's going to allow me to solve for side F. Boom, right? F is going to be 37.42 times sine of 42 divided by sine of 102. Okay? And here we go. Ready? And that is 25 point what? What would we round that to? I don't want to lose half marks, Mr. Dirksen. How can I do it? Can I just write the whole thing down? No, round it to decimals. So 598. That 8 bumps this to a 10, which bumps that to a 6. So this is actually, and we are in inches, right? We're solving for a side. Box that in. That would get you another mark. Okay? So we know all three angles. We now know two sides. We have one side left. Can I mix in cosine law, Mr. Dirksen? Can I do that? Can I make a salad, a coleslaw, cosine law, coleslaw salad? Yes, we can. Because you have a side angle side here at the top. We just created that. So I'm going to say that side n squared is going to be this side squared plus the other side squared minus, and here's where you just jump to this, 2 times 25.6 times 37.42 times cosine, not sine, cosine of what? There are three angles, Mr. Dirksen. Where is this angle sandwiched in between these two sides? So it's this angle that needs to come here. Let me grab a pink highlighter and I will highlight that 36 and bring that over here, right? And so n is going to be square root. In order to get n, you're going to have to square root anyway, so do it right away. Type that in, please. I need to know whether you know how to type this in using your calculator, okay? I make it look easy because I've done this many times. You need to make sure you know how to do this. And I will leave this up on my screen because that's what you're supposed to get. So make sure you get that. Make sure. If you use sine law, if you did this and you use sine law, you should be getting about the same thing. So square root that, n is equal to 22.49. Would it make sense for your answer to be 505? It wouldn't. It's way out of the park, right? And besides, which side should be the longest side here? 37.42 because it's across the largest angle. Okay, so there we go. There you have it. Do I know everything? Yes, I know 1, 2, 3 sides, and I know 1, 2, 3 angles. Triangle solved. Okay. I use cosine law here. I use sine law here. But can I say something here? You probably don't want to hear me talk even more, but I will tell you this to make sure. I want you to be successful. You can only start with one. You can never start with either or. But once you start it with one, you can morph into any other. Then once you start solving, go back to sine law if you prefer sine law. Go back to cosine law if you want to go cosine law. That's fine. Okay? Is this written down? I hope so. Okay? So I basically reviewed cosine law and sine law at the same time here. Do this first. Okay, this has to be do this first. Okay, very important. If you find that third angle given 2, you may find a hidden pair. Okay, and that's the key to success. All right. How many of you did these two questions down here? How many of you solved both of these triangles? Hands up. 2? Okay. So this is going to be your task for, before I move on to the next part, I need you to solve at least one of these two right now. Okay? That's your task. maybe do this one first. I want to say something here. If you have a choice as to which angle to solve for first, which one should you solve for first? Did I say that in the notes? The largest angle. Which one of these three sides will tell me the largest angle? Well, longest side, so this is the first angle to solve. Start with this one. Okay, so go ahead, do that one, and I'll come back, and then we'll do more. And then I will actually instruct you to try to do questions where you have to pick. Okay, so this is page what is it, 279A. So let's start with that. If you're solving a triangle, start with largest angle. Make sure you write this down if you haven't done any, right? Start with largest angle because we know this is a side, side, side. Okay, so it's going to be cosine law to start off. You know that. So we're going to figure this angle out first. So cosine of x, right? What's the first number you're going to write down? You're going to write down the one that's across the angle you're trying to find. So you go minus 12.3. This one you should write down if you haven't done so already. You need to square it. That's the first number I write down. Then I focus on the other two, right? So it's 5.1 squared plus 8.2 squared. Okay? Over 2 times the first number, but you do not square anything in the denominator. Okay, that's important. It's just the way it is. That would already get you a mark, just one mark. Then we figure out what the top is. So grab your calculator. Yeah, go ahead. And that is, watch this, guys. This is something that I have touched on before. It's a negative. It's a negative. Very important. I'm going to highlight that. The top number gets me a negative, and that's normal. I don't want you to drop that. Okay? Over, I clear my screen and I go 2 times 5.1 times 8.2. Okay? So that's 83.64. Let me just focus that one more time. Seems a little blurry here on my screen. There we go. Okay. And I would like to add another line. So I'm going to go cosine of x. That negative comes with you. Okay. It doesn't just disappear. Okay. What does that tell me? Let's make an arrow like pointing to that negative. Right? It means that it will be an obtuse angle. Okay, you know that it's going to be an obtuse angle. And what does that mean? It's going to be greater than 90. Even if it's slightly greater, it is obtuse, right? So I don't know how you're going to do this on your calculator, but I actually type it in exactly the way it is. I put a negative in front, right? And I divide it by 83.64, and that gives me negative 0.6939, and that keeps going. Okay. And so angle X, this is your grand finale, right? You go cosine inverse of, how come there's two negatives, Mr. Dirksen? That is fine, okay? Don't mix those up. Don't turn it into a positive or anything like that. So it's very important that on your screen you have that negative to do this next part right. So you go shift cosine equals, there it is, 133.94 degrees. 133.94 degrees. Okay. I'm going to box that in or circle that. That is important to me. So this is also like a little bubble, right? So I did all of this to figure out that one angle, and now I can find another one. Okay, so I'm going to section this off. I have a pair now. Let's write that into our triangle, the 133, 94. Let's write that into our triangle, and so you now have a pair. This pairs up with that, right? Have a pair. Now have a pair. So you're going to go sine of 133.94 over 12.3 kilometers. Which angle do you want to solve for? You have a choice. It doesn't matter. If you want to solve for y, then I'm going to go sine of y over 8.2. Write that down. Okay. So they're paired up. So I go sine of y is 8.2 times that. Sine of 133.94. Right, this times that, this multiplies, and then divide by 12.3. And I'm running in trouble, and I have a bit of an issue here, but I think that'll be fine. 8.2 times sine of 133.94 divided by 12.3, 0.48, and that keeps going. So y, angle y is sine inverse of that. I'm going to go shift sine, and that's 28.69 degrees. And how do you find your third angle now? So this is a box here, right? I've got 1, 2, angle Z is going to be 180 minus 133.94 minus 28.69. Sorry, I'm going to move it down a bit. 180 minus 133.94 minus 28.69. 1737 is the last third angle. Okay. So there you solve for all angles, all sides, and that's that. Okay. All right. I feel like we need more practice on this. So I'm going to get you to grab your workbook right now. And you have no excuses because there's still time left. Okay. Grab your workbook. So I will say work on page, I'll tell you in a bit, 5 and 6. 5 to 6 in the workbook. And put your phones away, right? It says choosing a law like this. This is the front of the book. Okay? You're going to go choosing a law. Oops. I will post the key to this. And then you can check if you're on the right track.